Alright. Hey, hey. Hey, hey, hey. Hello. So, I hope you guys can hear me. I think seeing is fine, but hearing I can't easily check. Well, hi, a watercolorist. Hi, 23. Arctic Journals. Hey, I'm glad to see you. How have you been? Hi, CD. Hi, Curious. Pumpkin. Hello, hello. Hi, guys. I'm gonna have to get up just very quickly because I forgot to prepare my cup of tea. So give me a sec. Okay. Now you just gotta remind me that in 5 minutes I have to go get my cup of tea. Oh, we missed you too, Arctic Journals. It's so nice to see you. Okay, you can hear me. Awesome. Forbidden paint, highly toxic ones. I just stumbled across a paint maker out of Hong Kong that has a really fascinating line of handmade paint, including a historical and dangerous one like orpiment and genuine cinnabar. Ooh. This stream was interrupted by Google AI. Use it, please, we beg you. Oh, keep on begging. No, thank you. We're packing up, getting ready to go home. We'll be able. Oh! How do you feel about the whole thing? Ooh, real mummy brown. Oh no, my audio is clipping. Okay, let me check. Why though? Is this better? Oh my gosh, Jinja! Forbidden paints must be delicious. Yeah, sorry, I have some weird recording issues and I had to unplug my microphone, but I think it reset in a really weird way. Let me know if this is any better. Do not eat the emerald green paint. I'm not happy because I like it here, but there's no options. Oh, yeah. Sorry. I feel so bad. I can't even do anything about it, but yeah. I'm kind of an unapologetic... What's that? What's that? I don't know what that is. Yeah, I think it reset the filters I had put on the microphone. If this currently is better, then I know what was the issue. But that's the thing, though. I really have a hard time dealing with the audio part of everything. And whenever I find a fix for something, I just forget everything about it. So when there's a hiccup or when something gets reset, it is a very big struggle to figure out what was the thing that I had done. Okay, so I'll set it up properly. All right. Okay. I've set it up in a way that if it ever resets again, it won't reactivate all the unused filters I had. Nah, that's okay. Canada is an option if we would like have some ties in there, but for now it's just would love to. Aww. Yeah. So far, no one has figured out what I meant by forbidden paints. I promise you, you're gonna throw bricks at me when I tell you. Always write down your configurations that way. Yeah, I really should do that. Oh, really? Oh, that's weird. Hippopotamus bush. I'm not sure I would go that far. And what kind of color do you get from that? Like gray? Ugh. No, it is not white knights. Oil, are you kidding me? No. No! No. Paints from some non-grata country? Nope. I was thinking maybe fugitive colors. Neither. You gotta think kind of like try to be more silly about it, perhaps. We have a winner! A watercolorist figured it out. Okay, let me get my shield so I don't get any bricks. I'll go get my tea. Oh, no bricks? Whew, you guys are nice. I'll ask again, if non-toxic paint creates forbidden water, toxic paint will create allowed water. And no, I think it will just make for extra forbidden water. Oh no, the Forbidden Watercolor Company, yeah. I mean, like I always say, the paints are great, it's everything else. So, I started this setup, I'm gonna try to provide a bit of context, but a long time ago, before the whole kerfuffle with the company, I had set up all of my DS paints in 9 palettes, and let me put these in order. Just all right. So yeah, I had no bricks. I used tomatoes, but this time I'll allow it. But we have to get bricks. But yeah, so what I did is I went through. I bought these really inexpensive plastic palettes, and I labeled like all the colors in a well, and then if I had the paint, I put it in the fitting well. And I was like, ultimately, as I go, I will eventually, you know, film most of it, whatever. And then the big thing happened, and I don't buy this brand really anymore. And now I have all these palettes with all the paints in it, and it's kind of convenient because if I need a specific pigment or if I need to, you know, investigate a mix that they've released from pigments that they already have, I can reference this thing. But it takes up a lot of space and it's kind of annoying. And what I was considering doing is going back and oops, I've set it up. This is just a reused box, but I set up this box and it technically has the same number of pans than the colors that I have in the 9 palettes. And as you can probably see, this would take up a whole lot less space and would possibly be a bit easier to access, you know. You're gonna send me semi-precious stones. I don't remember the word that the dude used. I think it was like, oh yeah, but these are specimen, they're not whatever, and it just basically kind of was implying that we were all stupid. When in reality, dude was the one that did not understand what he was talking about. But yeah, so that's my big plan for now. And yeah, I feel like at least if I'm gonna put this into storage, it's gonna be a bit easier to do than all these palettes that are kind of annoying. When I'm looking for a color, I kind of have to open every single one of them. And then since there are wells at the top, at the bottom, and these paints are notorious for not sticking to anything for some pigments, it's kind of a bit annoying to open the thing and all the pans like are loose. Not all of them, but many pans are loose. There's quite a few that I've set up. You can kind of tell from these, perhaps here. But what I did is I had a piece of watercolor paper, like really cheap, and I put some double-sided tape on one side, and I would stick that first in the well, and then I would wet the paper, and then I would put my paint cake on top. And that's how it kind of stayed in place. But as you can also see, a lot of them were originally in pans. And I took them out of their pans to put them in here. But now I have this, and it's just collecting dust, and it's not very efficient. So I think I'm going to revert back to putting everything into pans. And you can tell me if you think that's a stupid idea. I'm open to criticism. But yeah. No pigment info, I send you into the shadow realm. What do you mean no pigment info? If they wanted to adjust the prices to reflect what's actually in them, I'd be more interested in them again. And I also, where is it? Oh, here. I've set up a swatch sheet with the trademark vellum so that I can swatch the color on the paper and then identify the swatch with the vellum. That's ideally the plan, though thinking on it, if I paint and it's wet, it's going to be a bit of a struggle. Okay. Wait, I have a bit of a oversight, a technical oversight here. Ah, jeez. That was almost really bad. Because the stupid tower of palette fell. That's another issue with these. And they hit my cup, but didn't spill any tea. So yeah, I have realized that there's a big issue with my plan, because if I paint and the swatches are wet, well, I can't put the vellum over them and write on the vellum. So I'm gonna remove the vellum. Before removing the vellum, I'm gonna retrace my grid, and then it should be fine. Sorry about that. I tried to have everything ready, but I forgot about this. Yes. Ballpoint pen ASMR. Oh, that's nice and cute. Sorry. Doop-a-doop-a-doop-a-doo. Even though Daniel Smith was famous, I wasn't really interested in them. M. Graham are the paints I really want to try. I only have 2 tubes from them and would love to try more. Which colors do you have from them? I'm curious. They are very sticky, that's true. If the paint seller doesn't list pigment information on the paint, I immediately... Yeah. I mean, for me, it doesn't necessarily kill it, but it definitely puts a great big asterisk over the whole thing. I was curious to try Daniel Smith when I came to the US because I heard so much about the brand. I do like what little amount I have, but they're not favorites. Maybe bias because it's a home brand, but Rosa. I think ultimately it's being able to have a selection from various brands that is optimal, because you can sort of get what you prefer. And most brands, they all have something special, you know. I'm a relative noob to watercolor, and for what it's worth, I like the paints, but they're definitely not my favorite brand. The silver lining of the whole kerfuffle is that I think it pushed a lot of us to try other brands. That was true for me with Roman Schmal, and I love it. I hope they never betray us. Oh my gosh, yeah. I have trust issues too. Not just about paints, just about everything, but I get you. And yeah, I think that is indeed the good part, well, like the good that came out of this whole mess. It's that I think it put in really stark lighting for some people some issues with the company, not in regards to the paints, but in regards to the interfacing with other humans aspect, you know. I only have a handful of Emgram colors, but I really like their variation. It is hella intense. Yeah, and it's easy to re-wet for once. I think if Emgraham made the Potter's Pink and it, you know, didn't have any issues, it would be so fun to use because it would be so easy to re-wet. But then again, like the Cobalt Violet was such a problematic color, so I don't know what way it would go. When it comes to Daniel Smith paints, I genuinely love their Buff Titanium, the best one from all the ones I have. It is a really nice pigment. I quite like it too, and I think they were some, like, I think Daniel Smith kind of released that one, quote-unquote, first. Not that it was a pigment that was rare or unavailable, but it kind of seems like no other brand had any interest in it. I don't think Winsor & Newton has it. I don't think Sennelier has it. Holbein doesn't have it. Roman Schmal has it. Schminke had it as part of their like special releases not too long ago. But yeah, so it was kind of, ooh, a nice beige color. I should buy local American brands like M. Graham, but I love Holbein too much. Oh, I know what you mean. What about Da Vinci? They might be a bit in between your like M. Graham and Holbein spot in your practice, because they offer a lot of interesting colors, and they are generally well behaved, but possibly more affordable or easy to find for you. Auntie Patience, hello! Oh, Holbein, with his advice, I got a few color and they're awesome. Yeah, I'm glad you think so. You got the good ones. Oh yeah, reminder to select all messages rather than top messages so you can see all of the comments. A very good point. I'm on a browser, so for me it's not all messages or top messages, it's live chat or top chat. Okay, there we go. I'll stick to Da Vinci or White Knights. It's the least expensive professional grade I can access to and not break the bank. M. Graham would be an option, but gesture vaguely. Oh no, yeah, don't. Humidity, ooh. I mean, it would be nice to try them, but yeah, you would sweat. Absolutely. I'm sorry about that. Wow, that was not a pleasant sound. I'm really sorry. I'm noticing that there's a few lines that did not transfer properly, so I'll see if I can sort of fix that quickly. Oh, Winsor & Newton, not White Knights. I mean, you gotta put the ampersand in there, or it's gonna be White Knights. I'm trying to write White Knights as WHNI when I swatch it. It's a conscious effort, so I don't remember to do it all the time, but it's so similar to, like, it's basically the same abbreviation than Winsor & Newton if you don't put in the ampersand. And it's, you know, enough of a different brand that you kind of don't want to mix them up. I feel like more bugs try to get in my paints when the paints have honey. I mean, yeah, it would make sense, right? The sugar would attract them. But there is always kind of sugar in paints. Because gum arabic is... it's not... I don't think it's as sweet, possibly, as real sugar, but it's a gum, too. So it's got to be some sort of sugar content in there, right? We need Paulo. Where's our chemist? I'm a shill for Da Vinci. Not that they're paying me for it. I mean, I don't think they pay anyone for it. I'm using NPWN, Nevskaya Palitra White Knight. Oh, that's good too. That's clever. Got it in one. Almost. You put the one too many A's in there. Oh no, wait, not the same person. Sorry. Got it in one. Huh? Like a sap. Well, I mean, gum arabic technically is also edible, so I'm not entirely sure. I haven't really looked into what you make it from. But, yeah. Okay, are we ready for this? Am I ready for this? I'm surprised that WN is cheaper with Windsor Newton. We just talked about this. And I'm gonna be so confused. I'm gonna write Windsor and Newton as labels on my pens, which is not what I want to do. Art and music, hello! I am transferring paints from one palette back into pans. Hopefully it's a more suited storage method for these. Right? That's the first one. Gum arabic is sap from the Acacia 3. Oh, okay. Oh, I remember the abbreviation. Oh, wow! If I recall correctly, whoa! I can never remember it right. Oh my gosh, this is a first. Okay, how am I going to get this out of there, though? Maybe that one. Whoop. Okay, let's try this thingy. Now, can I peel off paper? Somewhat. The answer to that is somewhat. Reminder, friends, W and Windsor Newton is the Windsor Newton abbreviations typically. Yeah, that's what I was talking about. And how, since it's not a kind of not necessarily universal, I'm trying to try different abbreviations. Okay, so that's one. And now, time to swatch it. I'm gonna try to put this a bit more in frame. Okay, hold on. I'm gonna try to adjust the camera because this is not working out. It's a bit too far out. I think this is a bit better. Right. It's good. So no, in my country, the main art supplier I buy from sells. Oh, oof. I see we are talking about Windsor and Newton. I really want to try them soon. I hope you get the opportunity. Yes, yes, I am labeling the half pan. Look. Look, 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 look. I think it's endlessly hilarious that the abbreviation that is most forgotten is, if I recall correctly. Yep, they're all from the same brand. I don't know if you were there when I explained it in the beginning, anti-patients, but I initially, like, quote unquote, collected the paints like many years ago, before everything, back when they were still affordable, back when, you know, they were not necessarily problematic. And I had quite a few, quote unquote, colors. And then everything happened and I started using these less. And I have 9 palettes like this one. They're not all full, of course. But yeah, and it's a bit difficult to reference. It's a bit annoying. So I decided that I would try putting these back into a better kind of storage option. Sorry. Brilliant. Now I can see what all their yellows. I don't have all of them though. Is this forbidden? Hey, Dave. Hi. And yeah. I mean, it's one part of a joke. Like I'm kind of just, you know, having this as a running gag here. But yeah, it's not just like in reality, it's not just the lack of transparency, haha, with the Primatech colors. It's also the kind of, I don't know if it has changed, like perhaps it has improved, but the whole behavior and the kind of stinky elitism you can find amongst some users of this brand kind of gives me a general ick. And they're super expensive and, you know, all of that, so. If anything, I try to, you know, just don't purchase this paint. But yeah, I have all these, I guess you could call them sample, because I don't have the tubes anymore. I just have these palettes with the paints in them. They made some business and communication choices that many of us have found unethical. Oh, that's a really nice way to put it. Very, very nicely said. Oh, I can tell the story, but people might be a bit fed up with it. The initial thing is that what there are the people who dislike Daniel Smith. No, not since the whole kerfuffle thing. So the issue is that at some point Daniel Smith was purchased by their current CEO, and their current CEO is more of a business guy rather than an artist guy. Whereas I think the original Daniel Smith was a painter. So there's a big like discrepancy here, and as a result of that, the focus became a whole lot more about the marketing and, you know, the selling of the paints rather than the, say, love of painting, if you kind of get my meaning. And then at some point, one of the most renowned researcher of pigments out there took a look at some of the Primatech colors, which are the colors that the company boasts are made from semi-precious stones. And she looked at the colors under a microscope and realized that there were discrepancies between the claims and what she was seeing. So she inquired about that very politely and was met with a really condescending and misogynistic attitude. And it gave a lot of people the ick about the brand. So yeah, that was the big kerfuffle thing, like the Primatech thing. And then also, if you kind of try to participate in their live stream that they would have, or if you try to, take part in the community, it's not a very welcoming community. The paints are really nice. The issue is not with the paints. It is more with, the company's behavior, exactly. I like the granulation, I just don't like the prices. Yeah, that's the thing too. Like these Primatech paints that are sold as using semi-precious stones, like there's so many things that don't add up. Like a lot of people who have experience with making their own paint and grinding their own pigments observe that if you take like amethyst and you grind it, you end up with a grayish, very lightly purple kind of paint or powder pigment. You don't end up with a very bright purple paint like they have in the Primatech range. It doesn't add up. And when people kind of raise that point up, again, the condescending attitude came out and basically was trying to explain it to us as if we were stupid and didn't understand certain things. It's either that or he doesn't understand certain things and then try to explain it to us. And it just doesn't... Again, the ick, that ick. So... And then the prices keep increasing, and then the attitude keeps on being... Ugh. And they have these things that are just... like, oh, Jane's Grey and Alvaro, whatever the color is, and Joseph is something else or other. And it's like, what are you seeking? You're seeking big names, you're seeking like name recognition more than great supplies. That's not how it works. Oh my gosh. I just don't like the way they act on paper. I don't care for granulation, and they feel, I don't know, they kick up on my brush. Yeah, fair. Entirely fair. I mean, it saves you a lot of money and annoy... Oh, shoot. Oh, we had a flying pan, guys. I'm never gonna find that one again. Might have to skip that one. Seriously. Because it flew out of here. I don't know if the camera got that, but dang. Yeah, castagnette. I'm just gonna put this here in the meantime. And I'll look for it later on. That was Hansa Yellow Light. Light speed, more like. PY3. Oops, that's a very ugly 3. Good job, me. 041. Oh, I don't think Kitty will find it. It's somewhere in... There's a wardrobe to that way, the way it went. And it's where I store a lot of my stuff, so it flew in there. It's gonna take a whole team to excavate it out. Oh, sorry. That said, the Daniel Smith Amethyst color. It is very pretty. It's this super rich, dark purple with a bit of sparkle in it. It is a really beautiful color, but there's really nothing here that justifies that price tag. There's hardly any amethyst in there. I would bet money on it. Yeah, Schminke are expensive everywhere, except perhaps in Germany. No, not even under the cabinet. Somewhere in there. Somewhere. Your paint has flown somewhere over there. Sorry. Okay. Note to self. I gotta shield it with my hand if I do that again. The lever has a bit too much strength. Oh boy. Sorry. It's probably not even that funny, but it took me out. Next one is Azo Yellow, which is PY151. I was surprised that many people do not like Schminke. I wish I'd known about Schminke when I was in Germany earlier this year, but I hadn't started doing watercolor yet then. You might get a chance to visit again, and then you will be able to truly go ham, as they say. Okay. This one is going to be trickier because this is one of the few color... Nothing happened. All good. All good. All good. Didn't fly out. Nope. Got it. All good. Get in there. All right. There we go. As you can tell, Daniel Smith paints are not very sticky. They're like the opposite of sticky. I just buy what Otto tells me to buy. Our imitators have yet to match her comprehensive comparisons. I know. Me too, but it seems that everyone on YouTube loves Daniel Smith. I know. It's that thing that they do that kind of makes you feel the ick. It's the ick. They always kind of make you feel like you're not part of the group by, oh, but Daniel Smith. You're like, yeah, okay, cool. Sure. Whatever. Like I said, very, very dry paints. And now I don't remember which one that was. Good job, me. Poop. It was that Queen of Talon. The Queen of Talon Yellow. Pan, come fly with me. What, the Lenny Kravitz song. I want to get away. I want to fly away. And then I'm gonna spare your ears. I want to try Schminke and Roman's Big. DS and Schminke paints dry the most quickly when you pour them out in pens. In my experience, they're very well behaved. I think my favorite in terms of behavior is Holbein, because it is super well behaved, but it's never this dry. Like Daniel Smith, I have the issue that some colors will just fall out of their pans. And I've never really had that with any of my Holbein colors. No, Da Vinci brushes is something separate from the Da Vinci paint brand. Lena! Hey! I use Da Vinci for granulating yellow ochres and violet iron oxide and a couple of other colors. Not sure why I would compare. What would compare the... Oh, good question. Daniel Smith has very deliberately positioned himself as the elite brand that real artists uses. Their marketing has probably been very... Yeah, I agree. I agree. That's exactly it. That's the vibe I get from it as well. I was listening in. Just when I joined, I heard the kerfuffle and I knew it would be a fun stream. True, though I really struggle with Holbein gouache cracking. Oh, really? Oh, wait, no, gouache colors. Gouache will always be a pain in the butt. I'm talking watercolor, because gouache is a different horse. It's the nature of the medium, yeah. One down, guys. Yeah, I wouldn't never recommend having gouache in a dry palette. I don't think that's a good idea. If you absolutely have to figure out a way to use gouache in a dry palette, I would direct you to M. Graham gouaches if possible, because they have honey in them like their paints, so they tend to stay a whole lot softer. But for all the other gouache, whether it's Winsor Newton and Holbein, I can't recommend it as a dry palette thing. So now my upper pink is more like ultramarine pink and the quin violet looks more like cobalt violet. Oh, the gouache? Try Shinhan gouache. It dries better. Which one? Because they have two. They have the hybrid one and they have the designer gouache, I think. I still stand by it, no matter how many people say, "Oh, but I have gouache in a dry palette." I'm like, no, it's not good. It's not. If you end up with gouache in a dry palette, you kind of have to use it really often. Otherwise, it becomes little bricks in there or dust. Two options, no in between. And I'm gonna start fights. But yeah, I've tried it. I've tried gouache in various dry palettes, and the only one that was kind of nicer to use was the M. Graham one. I had the same issue that some of my Holbein gouache. It didn't like dry all crackly and fell out, but it was absolutely unrewettable, and then the Winsor Newton became dust. It cracked out, but like everything was every color now. And no, I also don't like to add stuff into my paint. Like glycerin and honey and whatever. I just don't like it. It feels very icky to me. Of course. If you like it, go ahead. Oh, I guess I figured I wouldn't put the color numbers for these. Okay. Go me. You guys are gonna make me rage out. No, Holbein watercolors are not any more opaque than any other brand. It's all in the pigments. Of course, if you get all of their colors that have white in them, or all the opaque pigments, it's gonna be more opaque, duh. But the rest of it is exactly like everything else. It's not any more or less opaque than the other paints made from the same pigments. Ew, cobalt yellow, ew. Yuck. Convenience mixes, love it. Sorry. That's okay, we don't have to agree on it. My gouache is in a battered old palette, or even if there is an issue, it's still usable. But what brands did you have in there? Out of curiosity. .8 on opaques. No, not at all, but it's... And then again, yellow ochre, you have some yellow ochres that will be transparent and some that will be opaque, so you really have the whole gamut of things that are available there. Aren't you in Canada? Oh, wait, sorry. My gouache includes Holbein, Da Vinci, Winsor Newton, and Shinhan. I mean, you gotta operate some magic in there, because I've tried... well, I mean, I never really had any Da Vinci gouache, so I can't say for that one. Shinhan, same. But Holbein has been... Some colors have worked fine, and some colors dried to bricks. And then Winsor Newton, the colors that I had, truly, they all, like, dried out and broke apart in the palette. I didn't add anything to them, though. I didn't add any honey or glycerin or anything, but... I wonder if that perception stems from their 24 tube set, because it was the first Holbein paints I bought, and... possibly. But also, I think in the same way that a lot of people will tout that Daniel Smith is the only professional range paint that is worth it, a lot of people will say the opposite in regards to Holbein, that it's not real watercolor paint and that it's not good. And it makes me want to throw things. I don't dislike opaque colors, I dislike bad paper. But oh, bad paper is a crime. Very hard to salvage. bad paper, but opaque paints are perfectly fine. I only have Holbein gouache because Kim Crick said that if she only had to use one gouache brand for the rest of... They are, I like them, but straight from the tube. They're lovely colors, but I couldn't figure out why Otto was recommending Holbein paints for color mixing when she said she likes... I mean, the answer is in the question. I doubt my desk has magic. At best, I'd reckon dumb luck. Yeah, perhaps that's it too. The colors that I had from White Knights, Winsor Newton were catastrophic in terms of gouache, but yeah. What am I trying to do? This one. There are way too many experts on YouTube. I've been burned many times from bad information. That said, I don't know the first thing about painting with gouache. But that's fine, that's fine. There's no rule about using however you want. I know quite a few people who in the past professionally used gouache a bit like watercolor, because it doesn't behave the way it doesn't behave the same on paper as watercolor does, and in that aspect it's a bit easier for some applications. Like for a more controlled illustration setting, you don't want colors that will zoom out all over the place. And for that, diluted gouache works really well. It stays put very nicely. Their response was defensive, in my opinion, because they had been exposed. What do you mean, Daniel Smith, Dave? Some reviews are paid ads. Yeah. I feel like unless it's someone you know personally on YouTube, or someone that you can ask, like even me, like, don't always keep in your mind that the stuff you see on YouTube might not be the most accurate representation of what your experience will be, for a plethora of reasons. Oh, because those... Oh, okay, I see. Because yeah, I mean, Holbein has many colors that are fully transparent. Why do you say that the Windsor Newton? Because it... the colors I had, I'm guessing one was definitely because of the color, because I didn't know what I was doing really at that time, and I got the Viridian gouache. And guess what? That became like Viridian crumbs. And less time that it's taking me to explain it. And then I had indigo, and indigo also dried really crumbly, and I had a PR 101 or 102 kind of color, you know, like English red or something. Also, like it was catastrophic because all the gouaches I had in there, except perhaps one, disintegrated into teeny tiny little crumbs. And they were really hard to re-wet, and they would fly everywhere and contaminate everything. That's why I say it was catastrophic in that specific context. I think the gouaches are really nice, but if I had to use Winsor & Newton gouache, I would take it out from the tube every single time I need it. If there's a bit extra, I will leave it there to dry, of course, but if I need to paint something, I would get the paint like fresh. Or I would try to paint really often with it so that it doesn't have the time to dry really crispy. Environment also plays a big role. Someone in a desert environment and some... Absolutely. Absolutely. That sounds about right, Lana. Yeah, I think it makes sense when you look at the behavior of those. Lana says, according to Schminka, the difference between their pro gouache and pro watercolors is that gouache has less binder, more pigment, and no oxgall. So it doesn't spread out the same. It is more opaque because of the added pigment, but it will rub off because there is less binder. And it will be matte because there is less binder. I should post a salty Reddit post ranking art YouTubers from good to bad. Oh no. Maybe it's me, but gouache is very similar to watercolor. It is similar. It is similar. In a sense that I feel you can sort of use gouache like watercolor, but you can't really use watercolor like gouache as is. You kind of have to add a bit of gouache. Like if you have a palette of watercolor paints and white gouache, you kind of get the best mix of it. But you can always dilute gouache to use it more transparently. But it's not going to behave exactly the same as watercolor. So it really depends on what you want. If you want to paint more abstract and like wet an area and then put color in there and have the color move around, gouache is not going to be fun to use for that, even if you use it like watercolor in general. As we are having a go at the... In what world can Luna Earth... Is it marketed as transparent? Are you for real? What? Viridian more like very hard. Okay, that's good. I'm powerfully curious about the Mijello Platinum class gouache. Is it the platinum or is it the white class? Shinhan has a similar product that is quite nice. Bad YouTubers hurt my wallet. I guess that's fair. I guess gouache isn't like wet and wet watercolor where you can kind of spritz the paper if it starts to... No. It's gonna make for an... yeah, I mean, you can try, but it's probably gonna not give you the same result as watercolor would. I think. This one is already good to go. All the Mayan colors from Daniel Smith, I feel, are very, very dry. Oh, shoot. I'm waiting for that Reddit post. All YouTuber Earth. Aw. We don't mean to. We just get excited about stuff and we wanna be excited with like-minded individuals. That's it. Lana says that's not true. I always tell people not to buy stuff. So you gotta exclude Lana from your consideration. Doesn't want to go in there. There you go. I think the white class is the designer one made with less... Oh, okay. It was... That's possible. I haven't kept up with their naming convention, really. Some people, me included, just enjoy the process of getting new stuff. Like, I'm not a hoarder. I have a collection. There's a stark difference between having a like a hoard, quote unquote, that is your collection, that is stuff you use, or to have a hoard that is basically just having stuff that you don't use, I feel. You can sort by paints by the size of the pigment grind, smallest to largest. Ink, watercolor, gouache, poster paint, tempera. Wouldn't the gouache use the same pigment size as the watercolor, just more of it and less binder? What's that mountain of watercolor palettes one person can possibly use in their lifetime? Nope, nothing to see here. Move along. Basically. Yep. The other issue with DS pimping up the Primatech is whether they have also done this with other paints in the range. Rare Green Earth. Yeah, and like their manganese blue hue has some sort of optical brighteners in it, because if you put it under UV light, it glows neon. It glows really brightly. But they don't tell you that. And it's like, okay, if you're such a pro brand, why do you keep secrets? That's not very cool. I'm sorry to be such a fangirl, but Sarah Burns is a really skilled gouache artist. And yeah. Jared Cullum is also very good with gouache. And I really like Vanessa Gillings. Anyway. She uses it a bit more like watercolor. Like she uses the gouache more diluted, but in a very controlled way. Oh, I did the wrong thing. The distraction. Shmike said yeah to the pigment size. Oh, really? Oh, it's the same. Okay. Yeah, that's what I thought. Though with me, it's like I try to use all this stuff. But it's never about getting stuff just to get the thing. It's getting the stuff about using it, right? I mean, I hope. Oh, the trust is shaken. Yeah. Can you imagine being someone who's perhaps more into the mysticism of the crystals and the minerals and whatnot, and being like, oh, that's awesome! I can paint artwork for people with healing crystals in the paint, you know, whatever, like the sacred geometry, but with Primatech paints, and then to find out that it's actually not that. I would feel so cheated. Oh, have a good night, 23. Take cake. Not too bad, but take cake. That reminds me about Winsor Newton's cadmium-free yellow and red tune. Yeah, it's like, guys. Like, come on. It's not a state secret, it's paint. It's not like you invented a whole new pigment just for those colors, like... I think they want to keep charging the price of the regular cadmium paints for a mix that they don't tell us what it is, which is not very nice. But I'm still less mad at them than Daniel Smith. Gouache differs from watercolor in that the particles are typically larger. The ratio of pigment to binder is... Yeah, the second one, true, but the first one, I would wonder where that was sourced from, because you don't... gouache is really smooth, that's part of it. So, what would be the... Why would they go for slightly larger particles? Exactly, that's why I prefer to ask more knowledgeable folks to decide if I really need that stuff and if I will use it, not just to have it sitting pretty on the shelf. Yeah. Same. And if there is something that I realize I don't use, well, I try to rehome it. Because someone else might want to use it, you know. I've not regretted getting Roman Spawn hold. Oh, I'm glad! Yay! What's my next one? Indian Yellow. If I remember right, it is quite nice. Oh, I think that's what gets to me the most, is that the paints are nice. The colors are lovely, it's a huge range, it's relatively easy to find in North America, if not affordable. Because it is not affordable, but it's easy to find, you know. And then... If exactly about the crystals example, which then makes it ironic because that means the elite brand is actually sometimes not. Absolutely. Truly. I mean, that they are elite comes from the company itself and the paid ambassadors, so I think other pro brands can easily compete with Daniel Smith. Oh, yeah, definitely. Plan to give my old trusty Rosa palette to a niece, though. Gotta teach. And yeah, you'll have access to a brand new one. Does anyone know the artist Cornelia Parker? Made her own paints out of genuine dinosaur. What did she call the color? And exactly, Lena. The ruby, I tried it. And I learned two things from trying to mold my own ruby paint from Kremer Pigments. It's that, first of all, ruby is one heck of a hard stone. It is very hard. I think I ended up grinding more of my molar and glass plate than the rock itself. And then it's nowhere near the red that the Primatech ruby color is. Nothing to do with it. My niece has got plenty of Schminke Academy because I get the tins but have too many of the paint. That's a really good way to unload the extra. Where they're different pigments from different species diets. Are you? Here we have herbivore green. This is carnivorous brown. The colors were all very muted. I mean, that's kind of what I would expect, right? Okay, what, at that point it's a coprolite? It's a fossil, it's basically rock anyway, even if at one time in the past it was dinosaur poo. Oh, I didn't know that. It sounds hard. I also feel so sorry for the rubies and amethyst stones that get molded into unimpressive paint. 100%. You know, I have a theory regarding the Primatech range. It's purely a theory. I don't have any like basis to sort of um, uh, put like to back my theory, but what I feel happened is that at some point, originally, Mr. Smith, the real Mr. Smith, um, made paints with the stones that we see more often, like lapis lazuli. Oh, I have yellow. First of all, I thought my eye was glitching, but I do have yellow on my finger. Like the blue of lapis lazuli that we see, and perhaps a malachite that is also quite common, and perhaps a few other of paints of this type, you know. And that was the extent of it for him. And then eventually someone in marketing saw an opportunity to get inspiration from the look of semi-precious stone and to try to create paints that kind of have the same vibe as the semi-precious stone. Where they tripped and fell face first is when they started claiming that the paints are made just from the semi-precious stone, which, aside from making zero sense, is also not backed by the reality of the paints themselves. All this could have been avoided if they simply had gone the route of saying, oh yeah, the paints are inspired, and some contain, you know, the semi-precious stone, but we tweak them a little bit so that they more accurately reflect the vibe of their associated the stone or something. You know, stuff. Instead of just going like, oh yes, but it is. Oh, Sean, hello. Hey, long time no see. It is nice to see you. %, it sounds like how. I'm glad you agree. I feel like it's pretty plausible that it would happen this way. I can't help but feel sorry for Mr. Smith. I don't get the feeling that the company was as market oriented before. I think you're right, Dave. Life is hectic, isn't it? Seriously. I hope you're doing okay too. I'm visiting Wisconsin. And just, oh yeah, you guys are getting a surprising amount of snow. Like multiple inches. What's the story with Mayan colors? Why are they called that? Do they have some special properties? Not properties per se. I think it just refers to how the pigment was created. In the sense that often they would precipitate a dye onto clay. And I'm not the resident, master of this method, but basically by this process the clay would become colored, and then that could be used as a pigment. But I don't know if that's the case for every single color that they named Mayan something. And since it's Daniel Smith, I wouldn't trust them. Not before doing a lot of research. Fine print Primatech unicorn poop contains only stuff. It's gotta have some glitter in there too. That lake effect snow. It is probably marketing, right? I saw photos of someone's backyard and there's like 7 to 8 inches of snow, and I'm like, ooh, ooh. That's like a sneak peek of what's the winter is usually like. As a professional marketer, I apologize for all that. I mean, you might have told any of them. You know. But some other people working for specific paint companies. And not just Daniel Smith, but the what's his name? The guy with the pinkest pink and the blackest black and whatever his name is. He really thinks that his Sakurakoi white label palette of paints is professional grade and worthy of the inflated price tag they put on it. And it's all marketing there too. Sounds like a nice day. Hopefully you have a hot drink and... Yeah. Oh man, hot drink. I have a hot drink, wait. Okay, might not be that hot anymore, but... No to a sketchbook as they're all packed, but I do have an iPad nearby. That's close to the same thing. Oh yeah, stretch sample. That's it. He says it's professional paints, but he's not even ready to share the pigment info with us plebs. Button again. Okay, the names are good. Can we at least give him 1 point for doing something a bit different with the names of the colors? But aside from that, though, a very underwhelming set of paint, which is a shame. Wouldn't it be great to have this layout, this palette layout, but with great paints in them? The Sakurakoi paints are not great. The Stuart sample paints are... Yeah. Very tempted to introduce my cat to snow. Oh no! It can go so many ways and not all of them right. By the way, if you guys want pretty sparkle, Rembrandt has shimmering paints made. Yes, they are super beautiful. I really like these. I was able to grab the pans before they decided not to send anything to Canada anymore from Jackson's. Paulo! Hello, Paulo. How are you doing? 1 tube of cool yellow will last me 50 years. I think I'm with you on that. I don't use cool yellow a lot. Warm yellow, yes. And then more neutral yellows, double yes. But cool yellow, I think one of the only thing I paint with it is cat eyes. You know when cats have those sort of yellow greenish eye color? I think that's the only thing I paint with it. My cool yellow pans or tubes are always like the least worn out of of all the colors. Oh, my butt. My butt is square. Mine will hide out of sight as soon as she hears Beth. Credit for creativity, no credit for saying professional artists don't deserve to know what pigment is in but negative all thing. Yeah, oh my gosh. If you name your paint that and then put on high airs of I don't want to share my secret pigment recipe and the color is named butt nugget. Like, dude. Yeah, it is not cute. It's a bit it's perhaps a bit too close to the line between just being edgy and provocative and being actually funny. Like, unsure which way it flips. What's your preferred primary yellow? It really depends. I'm a goal oriented painter. So if I have a specific outcome in mind, it will influence what colors I will get. But if I'm working from just personal preferences, I will try to find a kind of yellowish, like more yellow ochre. Because you can have yellow ochre that is a bit more muted, a bit more toned down, but you can also have it be more yellow. And that's the one I like, because I feel it's a bit more useful. If I'm going for versatility, it's gonna have to be a neutral yellow, because I'm hoping to mix as many colors as possible. But if I just go from my preferences, like I feel like I really like quinacridone gold, but I find it a bit hard to use. And I feel like the more yellow ochres are easier to use because they're just a bit more like toned down. If that makes any sense. You guys might get it because we are all like-minded individuals in here, but yeah. Sometimes I feel silly when I talk about colors. I'm all for a little toilet humor now and then, but I mean, when you see the pan and it actually, like, it's a little brown, dry paint pan, it's kind of funny, but yeah. Sample is trying to be edgy and cool. He's about as edgy and cool as it will. Yeah, that's about it. Yep. Do I have a PY74? In general? Possibly. Perhaps not within these, but somewhere out there I might. PY74, PY74. The yellow ochres were used to paint gold on. Yeah, that tracks, right? If you can't have any kind of actual gold leaf. If you want a queen gold that has a more ochre undertone, then try the. I think I might have it somewhere. But yeah, like I really like Holbein's yellow ochre. It is really lovely. Okay, next color for me. Permanent yellow derp. Anyone else having issues with messages? Oh no. Like in the chat? What? Maybe you need to refresh it? I know that's this silly thing everyone always says, but sometimes it helps. I'm looking at these. I have almost all the info on the colors in the palette, and I don't think that with these, I don't think Daniel Smith has a PY74, but I might have one. I can't really check right now who makes it. That's usually what I do. I go to Artist Pigment, and I look up a pigment number, and then I look up what brand have the paint, and sometimes that gives me an inkling of if I might have it or not. Because I have a global feeling of what colors I have, what brands I have. I think Holbein's Yellow Ochre contains PY150. Nope, it is PY42 or 43 only. Have you tried turning it off and back on again? I mean, I fully get annoyed when they tell me to do that, because it's usually the first thing I've tried. Because, yeah, often it works. Often it works. It is like a, like tech is weird sometimes. I do prefer Daniel Smith Yellow Ochre and Bird Sienna and Watercolor. The first Daniel Smith paints I got the color selection from Teo Yichi. Or Chie, I don't know how you say it. And he used Italian burnt sienna. And for the longest time, I hated burnt sienna because of that. Because it still is, in my opinion, dog poop. And I absolutely loathe it. It dries really hard. It is difficult to re-wet. It is crapo. I hate it. And then at some point, I got to try, like, I think, like I did a sort of pan exchange with someone local to me. And they were like, oh, I'm going to get you a pan of that one because you don't have it. And I was like, yeah, okay. And I tried it and I was like, oh, it's nice. It's actually really nice. The regular burnt sienna is much nicer. And then I got mad. Because the same thing happened with the regular ultramarine versus French ultramarine, which I also hate for the same reason. I just mixed a Quinn Gold dupe with Windsor Lemon and... Oh, interesting. Yeah, if you... Quinn Magenta, that's the more purpley one. Yeah, makes sense. Because you're basically gonna mute down your yellow. And you're gonna lean it a bit orange. So yeah, it's gonna give you a good kind of Quinn Gold, perhaps Yellow Ochre kind of dupe. It's gonna be a bit less vibrant though. Teoyichi. I thought there was an E at the end, but maybe not. I don't like burnt siennas that tint to yellow, and their yellow ochre is super gentle. TS burnt sienna is quite pink. I like a good brown. Sorry. The colors before last not. Wait, what? This burnt sienna is quite pink. Liking your primitive theory. I'm glad. Yay. I didn't create something that made zero sense. That's good. I have here. I have my chart of all the Holbein colors. So there are two. Very similar. Yellow ochre and raw sienna. Yellow ochre, raw sienna. Yellow ochre is single pigment. It is PY42. Sorry. And then the raw sienna is almost the same hue, but it is PBR7 and PY42. So it's these two here. I hope there's not a big glare, or there's possibly a big glare. Sorry. And then, wait, make this a bit more efficient. All right. Raw sienna. Here, the last one. Yellow ochre, burnt sienna. And this is light red. That PY110 is very orange. It is. Does Holbein have a PY110? I think they do. Do they? Maybe not. Oh yeah, they do. Iso Yellow Deep. Iso Yellow Derp. So it is... See, Holbein, it's this one here. And that's technically Daniel Smith. So yeah, it is very orange. And then the other one is supposed to be PY65. And I don't know if... I don't think so. Yeah. Okay, chocolate eaten. Ooh, what kind of chocolate? I don't know, but finding good brown was a pain for me. It is very difficult to find a good brown, I agree. And there are so many variations in like browns that you can basically eventually find one you like, but everyone is likely to have a different favorite. So it's very difficult because it means you cannot necessarily rely on other people's suggestions. Like in my case, Teuichi's freaking Italian burnt sienna was really not for me, but I didn't know any better. I kept fighting it, and ultimately... Yeah, I think NB1 probably came first, as its natural brown, natural blue one. Hey, this is the last color of this palette. Yay! It's gonna take forever to do. Time is it? Took me almost 2 hours to do, what, 14 colors? 13, because one of them flew off into the wardrobe. So have our... Oh no! How dare you! Lana, how dare you! Oh man, they are collecting dust at the bottom of the crafts bin. I completely nuked my patience for that project last year. Finished. Beep. I was organizing stuff and I saw them not long ago and I just had a moment of like, ugh. And then I closed the bin again. That's how they're doing. You were thinking of them! Oh no! Don't! How dare you! How dare you! I'm a really big fan of Da Vinci's earth tones in general. I use a lot of their light red. From what brand, Sean? Da Vinci? Oh, the penguins. Okay, so last year, at about this time, I was trying to get work done on a very, very vintage craft project that I kept for like forever. And they're basically felt penguins that you have to cut all the pieces and then assemble them, and then they make for these Christmassy penguin ornaments that have what's the word? Sequins on them and little beads, and they're cute and everything. And I dug them out last year and I was like, I'm gonna work on them. And I did, and at some point I just ran out of juice for that project. So yeah, that's it. Da Vinci terracotta. Man, Da Vinci is hard to find here. It used to be much easier, but yeah. And I don't think it's gonna get any easier until something happens. Now, is that palette number 2? Do I move right away into pure orange? Oh, apparently I do. Okay. Main orange, main red. Flyaway colors. Pure orange, color 126. Pigment PO73. I really like the Aussie Red Gold, though funnily enough, they kind of ripped it off from Art Spectrum, which I thought coming from them was pretty rich. I was like, that's very, very rich coming from you, mister. Oh, everyone is stealing my custom formulas for colors. Yeah, sure. Okay. I use it for mixing skin tones a lot. That's really interesting. I feel like there's a sort of two stance on people who eventually get to a point where they have to mix skin tones. I've seen people use a base that is mostly like yellow ochres or red iron oxides or even brown iron oxides. And then I've seen also sort of a very different approach that is entirely from yellows, magentas, blues. And it's really interesting because ultimately both kind of get to the same like you get skin tones in the end. So, but yeah, I think you get like half of them done, which I've had already. Pretty sure it's good in most brands, whatever they're. Yeah, it's very difficult to mess up a PR101 or PR102 color. Okay. Often used to substitute. The Venetian red used to substitute cadmium red. Aren't they quite different? paints are dry. Dry. I thought it was an agreement. Oh, maybe. But if it is, no one has said a very like outspoken word about it. Very different in my stone, but extra. Oh, okay, interesting. I haven't painted with the cadmium colors a lot because of their price point. But sometimes I kind of wish I did, because they have really interesting features. Like the granulation sometimes is really nice, and I feel like the cadmium red purple variant of the pigment is also very lovely. We're all basically a neutral orange skin color with a different value. That's basically it. And everybody has like the red undertone of it too. Agalo has Aussie red gold as well, but they call it something else. Interesting. PO73 is so fascinating. It has this cool... Yeah, it's like pinkish. Have you done a spread with this one, Lana? Sorry. I think a spread with this one would be really interesting. Especially for the monochromatic painting. Mm. Mm. I have to say, though, my favorite was the transparent Pyrrole Orange. And that one, that's my fighter in the game. Oh, you have, but you lost the footage. Oh, no. I'll have to try to find it back up, though. I feel like PO73 is a weird one. I like what it does, but I never have a use for it. Whereas the transparent Pyrrole Orange, that one I have a use for it. It's a color that I can sort of mix into things more easily. Permanent orange. I kind of don't like these names when they just put permanent, because it's like, I hope so. I mean, what are we doing here? Where are we going with this? Rosa Gallery charges the same price for paints. Yep, they do. And yes, I mean PO71. That's the transparent Pyrrole Orange. The regular Pyrrole Orange is PO73. Accessing purple and burnt umber tinted out is great for dark complexion. I'll try to find it, but I always reference... Oh, perhaps I have it. Hold on. Ah, found it. Okay. So, what I like to reference to when it comes to skin tone is this tutorial that an artist I really like did ages ago. And she basically shows how she mixes skin colors and lists out the colors she uses, which are sadly all Daniel Smith, but you know, you can find equivalencies. Big hue gap there between. Yeah, I don't have all the colors, so there's that to keep in mind as well. But yeah, there's a big gap here. So yeah, all the colors that she uses are lemon yellow, which is the cool yellow, new gamboge, which is the warmer yellow, quinacridone red, the warmer red, quinacridone magenta, the cool red, phthalo blue, and burnt umber. So with these 6 colors, she basically shows how she mixes a bunch of various skin colors. And it's the thing that I kind of always reference for this. Because I feel like with these colors, you can also paint a bunch of other things. It's like a very versatile palette. And you don't have to dedicate colors to being just for skin. So yeah. Le chien rose. I think the dog upstairs is... It's either the dog or the vacuum. Oh, I definitely dropped some water on there. Oops. See, I feel like there's not necessarily a big gap, but it's just that the colors are in a weird order. This orange would definitely fit better here, like before the Pyrrole orange. It is. This one I really like. It is the dog. Bark, bark. Bark, bark. Now, this one, I really hate the name because it reminds me of another word that kind of looks like it. But it's Perinone orange. It's PO43. Yeah, just mixes of primaries, but it's nice to simplify them with... Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Definitely not having a tube of paint and thinking of it as the skin. That's kind of why I get weirded out by the Naples yellow reddish kind of colors. I feel like they're a terrible idea because if someone is like beginning and they want to do portraits, they're going to feel like they have to get this color, but it's not fun to use. It is more opaque, which kind of flattens out the glow you might want in a portrait, and then it is not very versatile. Since it's usually quite opaque, it doesn't necessarily mix well with the more transparent paints that you want to use, and it's kind of an awkward in-between color that's actually more limited than it is helpful, I feel. Zorn palette is quite fun, but it is difficult to do in watercolor because of the way that you don't necessarily use white with watercolor, so it doesn't, diluting a color and mixing it with white doesn't give you the same color in the end. So Zorn is really fun for oil or acrylic, but with watercolor it's a bit of a different approach. I'm not a huge fan of cool bias palette, so like SMI, even though they have greater range, they are too much work. Yeah, it's a trade-off, right? You have like a whole lot less colors. Like it's not the perfect solution, but it is what will give you the biggest range of mixes for the smallest amount of colors. Skin is multiple variations of color. Yeah. Yeah, so if you start with just one flat color, it's gonna make for a very flat portrait. Ah, you're too nice, Arctic Journals. It's nice to see you, truly. I was wondering, like, there's a few people that have been really busy with life, and I always go like, ooh, I hope everyone's okay. Oh, yes. Transparent people all around, guys. Are we ready for some epic cool color? I am. I am very ready. Oh, it absolutely looks like a multi-week project. All right. Are we mentally ready for this? Ta-da, ta-da, ta-da-da-da-da-da. How cool is it? How cool. I think it is perhaps from that batch that Daniel Smith had that was like more red than orange. The infamous red transparent Pyrrol, quote unquote orange. It's so cool. It is so cool. I will set up a poll asking if you guys want me to put a pin in this and continue next week, or if you're not all that interested and would like something different next week. So give me a sec. Come all the way here. Here we go. Woo. It's out. It's out. Let me know your thoughts. I counted, and unless I did my maths wrong, but I have about 125 pans to transfer. And today I did about 17. So we have quite a few weeks of this project if you don't actually hate it. Really hoping to see you swatch all the earth. I don't have all of them though, that's the thing. But the earth one have got to be the... Oh my gosh, there's quite a few of them. I don't think that's the first one. So that's 7 out of 9. So I'm thinking it starts with 6. Yeah. So 6 we have the yellows starting. And then Jesus. Sorry. That's what I hate of these paints, the way they fly off everywhere. And then some browns here. And then possibly more. For 8. So even more. And then I think number 9 is weird. But number 9 I know has 2 features. It has the old New Gamboge and genuine Quinn Gold. So something extra in there. At the very end of it. Oh my gosh, okay, so you guys are all voting for the more forbidden paints, which is great. Awesome. So I will, however, locate the pan that flew off. And I will be swatching it and put it in a box with the other ones. But aside from that, I will set everything aside and ready to go. Oh, yeah, I know what you mean, Arctic Journal. It's going to be difficult to readjust. There's quite a big difference. Thank you, Auntie Patience. So many tutorial talk about Daniel Smith paints. Yeah, I think for what it's worth, their dot card is a good investment because it gives you a good reference point. But yeah, I would possibly wait to find it on sale or something. Mine always blown. Mind you, I don't have the tubes. These pans, these palettes are all I have. Of course, I had the tube at some point, but another story for another day. And yeah, it's it's kind of a love annoyance relationship with the paint collection. Some days it makes me happy. Some days I wish I used only like 10 colors. But ultimately, here we are. And yep. All right, so I will let this dry, pack it up, find the paint that flew off. I keep saying it because I know I will forget, and I don't want to forget. I don't want to have a yellow in there that's just like doing its thing. That's not a good plan. So next week, next Saturday, we'll continue with this. More reds, and I think it goes into the violets after, right? Purple and violet, or violet and purple. So yeah, all right. I hope you guys have a great weekend. If you are in one of those areas being buried under snow, be extra careful. And until then, there's the Discord you can visit to chat paints and whatnot. And there will be a members-only live stream on Thursday, and then a public live stream next Saturday. More paints. So yeah. All right. Have a great weekend, and take care. Oh no, sorry, take cake. And yep, see ya. Thanks, guys.